And we have a returning guest, and since she is so much now pretty much a staple of the show, I'm not even leaving her off. Like, we're not even gonna intro her or anything.
Well,
it's just like,
There was like dead air. I was like, I need to fill this. Let me dance for a little while.
So StreamYard's acting a little funky today. So if there's some hiccups or something, let us know in the comment section. But anyone who is brand new to this program or has missed us, hopefully, over the last couple of weeks, and we can get into why, but make sure to share your comments and questions, like the broadcast. Yeah, see, the banners are slow coming up. So here we go. Like the broadcast, subscribe, share, retweet it, put it out there, help people see this, because we have all kinds of good stuff that we share with everyone. This is How to CPCU. We are put on by volunteers of the CPCU Society from within the society. And we talk all things CPCU. We talk about the society, value, tips, tricks on how to get value out of the society, all of the cool people that we have, one of which is joining us today. Joann, how you been?
Hey, I'm good. I brought with me some spicy pickle. There it is. Spicy pickle monster. This is artesian ale. I always have to bring some pickle paraphernalia. I'm going to be tasting it for the first time with y'all. So wish me luck.
So, all right, I am full of questions now. All right. The broadcast has gone off the rails already, which I pretty much figured was going to happen. Now you're tasting it. Is it supposed to taste like pickle?
I'm thinking it's not great.
I thought it might have some sort of ale beer-like flavor to it. So if you've ever wondered what pickle beer tastes like, don't. Yeah. But I'm going to go in for another drink.
Yeah. Well, you might as well don't waste it.
Yeah.
So that is some fun stuff. We've been off for a couple of weeks. I had vacation. Heather was traveling, right, on vacation before that.
I had an eye appointment. Yeah, I had an eye appointment. My eyes were dilated. I was like, I'm not going to be able to see anything. So looking at the screen going, oh.
My kids got me sick last week. So this is it's been a comedy of errors. I don't know. I was almost enticed to pull the trigger last week, because then we just would have seen what happened, because I was all hopped up on Benadryl. But that's the way you get in trouble, pretty much. So, look, we were chatting right before this, before we even get into what we want to talk about. We were chatting about just the dynamics of reopening and people getting back together, and we have Inter-Risk coming up in Orlando in September. What's that been for? I mean, Heather, you posted on LinkedIn. What's that been like for you getting back into the office?
It was odd. I did recognize how much that I have been dependent upon not wearing shoes for a very long time. Shoes apparently are a challenge now for me, and I'm going to have to overcome that. But yeah, I had the first day back in the office today. It was great. Got to spend some time with some teammates. I don't have a desk yet, but that's because I transferred departments during the pandemic, and nobody pays attention to those kind of things when you don't need to have people in the office. So I was just hanging out in a random, officle that belonged to somebody else that had moved on somewhere. And, but we did get together and have some time just to have fun, those kind of fun team moments that you don't get, that I think we kind of missed a little bit, because we were all about the business when it came to meetings most of the time. And inserting fun into meetings is always a different thing, but we played air hockey and ping pong and, free lunch and free vending machine stuff. So that was super neat and fun. But it was very different. You had to think about your day differently, I guess. And that I think is something that we'll all have to start readjusting to. Because I was when the alarm went off at 5:45, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I got to do a lot of things this morning before I'm in the office at 7. So, yeah, very, very different, but cool at the same time too. It was good to reconnect.
I would completely agree. I think the group gatherings I have been to within the last week and a half have been a state of euphoria. We were laughing about it before. It was like even my like mortal enemies that I see at these meetings, I was giving them hugs and handshakes and stuff like that, and everything was extremely cordial. So I'm pretty sure next week it'll be back to the fisticuffs and everything like that. But how's it been for you, Joann?
Well, so I had a meeting in Dallas, a work meeting 2 weeks ago. And then this last weekend, we went down to Dallas for just a family getaway. And so the meeting was still kind of spaced, but the family gathering, when we went down there, we went to the NASCAR, and my son did a NASCAR ride along, and there was plenty of rednecks to go around. I mean, it was, and I'm not judging because I'm one of them. I was there, but it was so much fun, and there were so many people. And I mean, it was, my husband always just like, get out of the way. And I'm like, please, people, come around. This is wonderful. So yeah, it's been nice. I do find that the more I'm around people, the harder it is to stay focused to get my work done. So I really have to like come back, say, get out of here, but it's nice to see America opening back up again. I'm happy to see people are feeling more comfortable and taking necessary measures so they can be out and about. And, I think we're going to see some lasting effects long term at some point, but now just be joyful that we are back where we can actually say, hey, for real,
Yes.
So.
Fist bump and hug.
Exactly.
Yes. And to that point, there are some people that are still I guess not skeptical, but they're still kind of like in that mode where they're trying to be protective or careful and stuff like that. And most of the gatherings I've been to, like, there's not people that are like, the hell with you, I'm going to hug you anyway, or like be in your space. No, it's all extremely cordial. It's like, whatever. Like, if you need space, I'll give you space. If like you want to be like sitting right next to me and my best buddy, we're going to do that too. And so, yeah, it's been extremely positive and happy and fun. And it's like, it's really strange how really generic business meetings now, like right now, the honeymoon will be short, believe me.
Yeah.
But even generic business meetings are like this fun, happy thing right now. So you're almost like, all right, how do we find a way to do that long term, where it's like everyone loves to be with each other? But all right, so on to the business of the day. Not that we have a program to put on or anything. We were talking before, and we've been kind of going through this process as a society and talking about, all right, well, like, where are the pockets of professionals where we know we can bring value, and we just have to communicate it to them that they would benefit from, getting the designation, being a part of the society, getting in with the cool kids club, and kind of mixing it up. And so I'll let you expound on it, Joann, but you kind of found one of these pockets of professionals that really you've been looking into, right?
Yeah. And so as one of the interest group governors, we had a call and we were kind of talking about some of the retention. And, it's very interesting because when it seems like when we went on COVID, a lot of things stopped, but then we found other niches to do things virtual. And so now we're trying to figure out, how do we continue to retain with this new virtual world that we can attach more people to? And so we'll
leave that up to the hackers. The hackers will do that.
No Bitcoin for you. Yeah. We discussed I work for Eberl, which is an independent firm. We hire independents to go out and do field adjustments. And that was one of the things, we talked about. I'm personally interested, giving my interest in the society, how we can kind of market to these folks and show the value of being part of it. Having your master's in insurance by having your CPCU can be extremely valuable, given that you can be a desk adjuster, you can be a quality assurance person, you can run field claims. I mean, there's a multitude for it. So not only is it beneficial for those in the work to be doing it, but those people who are about the work at leadership level and at corporate levels to recognize that, hey, these are some people that we could tap into to sell our brand even more. I mean, if Eberl is known, or any other vendor is known for having choice CPCU hires, I don't know about you, but a carrier would probably be snatching up on that, thinking that that's one heck of a deal. So I think that's something that we want to dive into a little bit more. I know currently I did a little research with my group here and kind of like, what do we do? How do we, do you recruit for them? And currently there's not a marketing plan in place. So of course light bulbs go off and I'm like, well, I need to fix that. I need to first get people interested in what it is and what it can do for them, not only from a career standpoint, but just from a personal, if you want insurance to be your profession, wear it proud. Wear it proud from the content, the learning, the materials, the networking. We're all about fun, of course, because this job's stressful enough, but it gives you so much knowledge beyond your immediate scope in front of you.
Yeah, for
Most
sure.
definitely.
And when you think about, Joanna, especially with that independent adjuster market, a lot of times you get people who are like changing professions and they're going to I'm going to go to adjusting because independent adjusting, because somebody told me I can make a whole lot of money doing that, and it's very lucrative for me. But to stay in that industry, you have to keep up with what is current today and going on and understand more than just the job that you're being asked to do, because a lot of times independent adjusters, in my experience, are asked to do like you might move from auto claims to fire claims, and you might move into desk adjusting into field adjusting, or doing all those different types of roles. So it could set that the CPCU designation could set that independent adjuster up for better success inside of a pretty difficult industry to break into in the first place,
And you can make more money. You have people looking to hire desk adjusters, and if you're a regular adjuster, you might not get a prime rate. If you're a CPCU general high profile adjuster, you're going to get a higher rate. So it really is something that we as a society can sell to set people apart for that perspective. But bottom line is dollars and cents. And that's one way it can hit the pocketbook of those who really need to go after it. I think it's really important, not just, I know this is our CPCU world, but just the society in general, of all the things, the education components that we offer, brokers, risk management, all of those things, understand how we all fit together, whether you're an independent adjuster or not, makes you more valuable, period.
Yeah. So as the caveman here, because I have not worked on the carrier side or the adjuster side, what's typically the sales pitch for a firm like Eberl that's going out there? And I would imagine your business development folks are essentially pitching someone on the carrier side or on a program side and saying, look, we bring adjusters that have X, Y, and Z, and you're going to see this kind of value. Where is the value sold in that service or product that you guys are bringing to the whoever's stroking the check?
Well, you almost hit it all on the head. So there's not, it's exactly right. My particular role is all about QA. And so I want my group to be certified QA people. So if I'm going to XYZ Insurance and saying, we want your business, this is what we can offer you. So if we were fortunate enough to have a pool of people that were CPCU designated, we could go and say, 45, 55, 75% of our adjusters that will do work for you have a CPCU designation. That means they're extremely knowledgeable in their work. They have the work ethic and perseverance to accomplish this, which is in essence getting a master's and you know what I'm saying. That, I think that in itself, we're setting apart that we have the best people working for us as a vendor, and we can give you, client, the very best service because these people have those high credentials. Do you want somebody who went to school at Harvard or somebody who went to NSU? I went to NSU. I'm not dogging it, but
that being said, that's a very interesting analogy. That's always the conversation that I have with people, from the sales standpoint, right? Whether it be my own brokerage, whether it be the CPCU and the CPCU Society and stuff. That's always the question that I think organizations that fail to answer this question are the ones that are the most likely to fail in general. And it's, what is our product and who are we selling to?
Yes.
If you get those two things really dialed in, you're probably going to be successful then, because then it just becomes, iteration or we know Joanne's not going to fall asleep if she keeps taking sips off of the pickle beer. If you can get those questions answered really effectively and dialed in, you're going to be successful. And so that's really interesting, because in a lot of places within the insurance industry, we fall into some value traps, right? Like there are some things where it's like, a race to the bottom in some cases in terms of expense or cost. In the IA world, I would imagine a carrier is going to be like, look, I will pay you I'll pay you a Cadillac rate if I know that, the adjustment's going to be done well and accurately, and the leakage or the oversights are minimized by the fact that you have people who actually give a crap doing the job, and
Exactly.
they're willing to take on all of that additional. What does the beginning of that outreach look like?
So, internally, because this is part of where I see us going, I think as a society, we have to kind of maybe recognize who our business partners are in that realm and be a little bit strategic in, what's our business dev going to go and tell, hey, carrier, think about this, push this out there. But I think each one of us need to talk up those benefits of the society. And, I know people probably don't realize it could be a pay differentiation. So we have a right, obligation rather, to kind of get out there and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? This is why you should do it. I know kind of for us on the carrier side, when we get involved, it was a lot of that. You're doing it for promotional purposes. It's the same kind of thing, but you're promoting your brand, as a client or as a carrier, you've got invested in so you can sell yourself. Well, as an individual independent, you're still doing the same thing. You want to make yourself as marketable as you can to as many vendors, Cadillac vendors that you can. You're going to find Billy Bob's, you're going to find those vendors, but you want to set yourself apart. So if you make a plan to say, hey, even though I have to personally pay for these, because that's what a lot of companies will pay for you to attend your CPCU courses, whereas an individual, it is an investment in yourself that will have a return long term. You can't just say, it's the same way about buying all the licenses that are available. Well, you might not get work in every state. So you've got to think about long term and not say, I'm going to get my CPCU in 9 months. You probably could. Someone like Heather probably did. Okay.
10-year journey, Joann, 10-year journey.
It was still, and that's another thing. Just being toward it goes a long way too. And so I think that people need to realize it's not necessarily you don't want to, I'm going to start to become an adjuster and tomorrow finish your CPCU. That's not how this should work, because quite frankly, as we all know, just because you got it, you still didn't know you could have gotten your first year of work and you wouldn't have known what you know without the experience that came with it. So it's not like you go to claim school and you immediately know everything. You don't get your CPCU and immediately know everything. It's part of the package deal. And if you want yourself to stand apart to be recruited, that's part of the package I would recommend.
Yeah. And I would also say, Joann, just kind of transitioning that now to talk about the designation itself. Yeah, the letters behind the name make you more marketable. Yeah. But as an independent adjuster, you are always looking for opportunities to tap into more development. And just being a society member, which now that we have all of these amazing new options for membership, or that those are coming in the near future, those benefits to independent adjusters could be even more. And I think from the society side, we have a amazing marketing opportunity for membership in the society for a group of people who are incredibly hungry to continue to learn how they can be better at what they do. And then to also look and explore other career options that are out there for them as they move through their insurance career.
That's nail on the head, Heather. That, we have several who the life cycle of that field person is running and humping roofs to I want to be a desk adjuster. Well, now you connected with all of these other great people in the society, risk management, brokerage, such a great foundation that this is not only you've learned this educational piece, but now you've got this massive network because you took it serious, right? You invested in yourself. You're exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
So I logistically, are IAs typically going to have to be dipping into their own pocket to getting the CPCU? Do they have someone like an Eberl or another firm that's out there that's helping them, source those funds and backstop them? Or are there any programs where maybe carriers are providing some level of assistance to their IAs? Like, what does that look like? Is it a mixed bag, or is it kind of weighted to one side or the other?
My first reaction would probably be it's on your dime.
Okay.
Now, with that said, I know several companies are going into a new phase where, we're looking to pay for performance and things like that. And if it's something that is valued enough, there is some potential for subsidy, kind of maybe we'll pay some of that or something to that effect. It's a really, it's kind of, I hate to say it this way, but it almost depends on the individual. I mean, you've got somebody who's fly by night or somebody who's in it to win it, right? And
Yep.
you know who you're going to invest in. And I think that's some of what kind of goes with that.
And in the IA world, it's maybe it's not the right word, but it's kind of like transitory, right? Like you have IAs that are, I mean, they're basically free agents. I mean, they might kind of work with you a good portion of the time. Like they might be at the top. Wow, I'm going to date myself. This is like my mentor would use this phrase all the time, and this dates back to like when cell phones first started, like cell phone plans first started. They're in the top of your Fab Five, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ever remember, like T-Mobile, and you could call your top five as many times as you want without running over, right? They're those are the IAs that are in your Fab Five, right? And you call them more often than not, but it's not like they are completely encapsulated in their employment with you. Like, I mean, they could pick up and go work for someone else, if they need to, right?
Go ahead, Heather.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a definite. They are, most of the time, your adjusters are, I would call them portable. They're portable in between whatever vendor that they choose to work for at that time. And then, of course, the vendors are the ones that develop the relationships with the insurance companies that hire in these, we have this many adjusters to provide to you. So it is all about, like, yes, they can pick up at any moment and say, I don't want to work for Joann anymore. I'm going to go work, even though nobody would say that. But I want to go work for, Billy Bob over here again, because it's their choice, because of the type of work that they do. But that's also something that makes CPCU and the designations so attractive to this particular group, because it's not like CPCU sticks with you when CPCU sticks with you wherever you go, And there are ways to getting your CPCU through the institutes and through the society that you can pace over time. You could do other designations as well to try to build out what is going to be your CPCU eventually. So it's that to me, like I say, it seems it is an untapped market, because in the past we've had such, the society has had such huge relationships with carriers that are out there. And it was all about the underwriters, and we got to get all those underwriters, and then, claims folks started going, well, wait a minute, I could learn something from that. And then, they started looking at, now we're starting to look into that market of brokers as well, agents and brokers, just because it does set them apart. And just like in any other role within insurance, CPCU is you're going to rise up to the top of a group. Your resume will rise to the top of a group. But for independent adjusters, it can be a dog eat dog world out there when it comes to trying to find work and where do I need to go, because a carrier could tell you tomorrow, or the vendor could say, yeah, tomorrow it's over, deployment's done, everybody's out, and then you're looking for your next role. So that's why I think it's one of those marketplaces that I think we never really looked. I don't know that we've looked at it. And I would ask the society that question if they happen to be listening tonight. Like, are you looking at this now that we're looking at the membership expansion? We had a wide open door here now. Yeah. Let's pull them all in. And if we market to this group right, we're going to have an amazing opportunity to increase the membership and also the diversity of what society is about. So
let me ask you this question, Joann. Are there other, like, once you get your adjuster's licensure, right? What's typically the next step for an IA? Like, is there another designation that they look at after that? I mean, hopefully the CPCU becomes that, or is that? But
so a lot of them will look to go through an actual claim school. So I know for us, we have our CADI Institute, and I almost see like a designation as another part to that. You got to get your feet underneath of you before you can start to walk, per se. So once you know the fundamentals of that job, then you can potentially get into the adjusting and the CPCUs or claim laws or some of those other types of things. And it just kind of depends, if you have someone who's more interested in doing commercial or more interested in doing liability, there's different kind of segments to go to that, as within, the institutes provide a lot of ththose individualized too. I kind of feel we do a lot really good about student support, going out for the I am a Signota, whatever, that
Iota Sigma.
Yeah, which is wonderful. But I kind of sometimes wonder, we do a lot of maybe high school scholarship or college scholarship, but what about an individual in the field that wants to continue their education? Why could they not come to a chapter and say, I would really love to see about a scholarship for you to support me in that regard? So, in the IA world, that's kind of, if you're on your own, here's another opportunity to network and stay committed to it, kind of thing. And so I Heather kind of challenges on the society on that, and I agree. And then I would come back to our chapters too and say, there's another marketing piece for you as well within your own areas. If there's somebody out there that you would want to invest in, I think it's a group effort to grow the society, to make the society, as Heather said, diversified in all that we do, and to show everyone the different opportunities that this industry has. I mean, when you sit back, when we have to reinvent ourselves, and you sit back and you see risk management, loss control, data analytics, brokerage, whatever that is, it's like, I don't have to leave home to find myself somewhere else, because I still have that background. And so I think that's important for these people, for somebody in the IA world, to realize it's not just about claims that we're getting into, and even just our society at a whole. Get out of your niche. Challenge yourself to find these other opportunities to make yourself more valuable. Again, I say all the time, don't worry about working in the business, or don't worry about working on the business or in the business. Get yourself where you need to be as valuable as you can be. And this is a way to do that.
For
I
sure.
love that. Let me try and throw some spaghetti against the wall. Would an independent adjuster be able to go to a firm like yours or to a carrier and offer and say, look, I really want to get my CPCU. I've done some work for you in the past. Like, we have a good working relationship. Again, it's not a captive kind of relationship. It's a, kind of at your discretion or convenient kind of relationship. But, I'll, if you help backstop me for the designation, I'll give you whatever, a discounted rate. Like, is there some give and take there where an independent adjuster could actually kind of like, I guess maybe the word is like hedge the exposure or the cost of, that upfront cost of getting the designation versus, if it's obviously going to help them with, the other business that they're going to get, maybe they're, and I'm thinking like a broker. So like, I have carrier partners where if I want to do something in my agency, if we have a really close relationship, a lot of times, like a Chubb or a Philadelphia or a Nationwide will come to bat and be like, look, you don't have to do that all on your own. We'll, give you some resources or some funds to help you build that out. Is that something that's available in the IA world, or maybe they just haven't tried it and it would be a good avenue to go down?
I think that's a little bit of both. By and large, I would say there's probably not a great appetite for that. But again, given the right individual. So for me and my group, if I use licensing, for example, I know I need licensing. I know this particular individual has been dedicated. They worked for me for over a year. They're there for me all the time. I would likely go and say, if you're willing to get your license, I will compensate that for you. So I think that there is that potential there. And I think you're right. It's probably not been entertained because it's not been something thought of. So we're kind of tapping in new territory, but we do, for example, some types of things on a pay for performance. So it could be, hey, instead of, we're going to give you so many Emerald dollars to go toward your CPCU. So it's not necessarily them paying it, but it is going toward it. So it's not like money changes hands per se, but you understand what I mean.
Sure. Yeah. I love that idea. Yeah. And anything that, and I know I'm cutting you off, Heather, anything that reduces the friction, right, I think is going to be a positive in the end result. So maybe if the society can find a way to be a facilitator to reduce that friction, I think that'll go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think we do have to think a little differently about the independent world, because it truly isn't, it's not the same as it is inside of carriers or those who are, in the agent and brokerage world. But to me, it is a market that I think truly needs a connection to the higher purpose of insurance in general. It gets I think sometimes in the independent world you end up with a very narrow focus on, we're just dealing with cat, and we're just dealing with, when I say cat, catastrophe, we're just dealing with catastrophe. We're just, we handle when, the hurricanes roll through, or when a gigantic tornado hits somewhere, or we have earthquakes, or we deal with running around carriers because they, they're short staffed for a period of time or whatever. And we fill the gaps for those things. To me, it's like, you as independent adjusters are standing in the gap in those situations for carriers a lot of times because of staffing and resources. The CPCU designation can help you to stand better in that gap, to be able to be on both your feet in that gap, versus tripping and falling and not being able to be, successful as an independent adjuster. Because truthfully, in my career and in claims, I have worked with independent adjusters many, many times. And I've been in situations where, there are a lot of people who don't make it through the mill of trying to be a part of work in a catastrophe event, because it's overwhelming. They decided one day, and then tomorrow I got this license. Somehow I passed this test and I got this license. And then, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I don't know what to do. And it's because they don't understand it. They come in and they don't understand insurance a lot of times. Now that's not the majority of the population, but there is a segment of, so yes, I think there is a way that you have to approach that particular group that looks a little bit different than how the society may market the CPCU designation to carriers or to brokers, but as we've talked about many times, open door is available now to be able to be a part of the society and to take in the benefits that are outside of designations to be a part of the society as well. So I think we have a ripe opportunity. I think we have a lot of great ideas. We just gotta get moving on them.
Yeah.
I kind of, the independent agent, my husband's an independent agent. And so, when he had to invest in becoming a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I know that's like, what? But in a small town as a new agent, that can be an expense, right? And so I kind of akin it to that a little bit, that it is an investment to grow your business. So as an independent, you are your business. And something like the CPCU designation is an investment in growing your business. So I think that's it is a little bit tricky as far as the employer support. But I also would say, as we talked earlier, if the carrier knows that you're selling the benefit of having these people on your roster, then they might also be willing to ante up a little bit with that too. You know, I mean, they might be willing to come and say, I only want CPCU. If that's what you can give me, then I only want that. And now you've just set yourself apart. And as we begin to get in this world of task assignment, where it's just we're going to have somebody go out and specifically take pictures versus work an entire claim, I mean, those who are truly qualified people will really become in a dog eat dog world. I mean, that this is going to be something that really is a differentiator long term.
Yeah. And you know what, I would think, and again, please correct me if I'm being ignorant here, but I would think the shift of the actual mechanics of getting the designation being mostly virtual now and very portable really is kind of best suited for IAs that, you know, on a moment's notice. I mean, they could be traveling and on the road or somewhere else, and it really helps from the standpoint that it wouldn't necessarily interrupt their study time, and more specifically, wouldn't necessarily preclude them from being able to, you know, put like a testing date in their mind in the future. Because I probably harp on this more than anyone else. For me, if I don't have it written down in the calendar, and if I'm not moving toward that goal with a deadline in mind, I'm probably never going to get there, right? It lights a fire under my ass. But so that being said, if they have to get called away because of a CAT event or something like that, this is less likely now to interfere with that process.
And, you know, just as the society puts together into risk and leadership summits and things like that, a lot of, I mean, there are independent trade shows out there where the society can go and set up a booth and sell their self, right? And ideally, wouldn't it be great if we had a trade show going on at the same time as Into Risk was going on? Maybe we strategically work to something like that so that there's double networking. Exactly. So I think that we have to kind of start to look at all parts of the industry as a partner, not just, you know, we're not segmented. I hate silos. So it's just like, okay, how do we kind of play off of each other? If you're going to spend the money to go to a trade show, you're already down here at my CPCU too. Let's connect, right? I mean, if I'm already in Disney to go to this meeting, I might as well go to Disney, right? So,
yeah, Joann, you have wheels in my head turning. I've never got to attend this conference, and I really want to, but it reminds me of like the InsurTech Connect conference that I've heard about that. Like, it's a pretty pricey ticket, I think, to get inside of the InsurTech Connect conference, but you can go to the trade show piece of it that's outside of the conference for not a huge expense. So it's like, hey, what if we had this kind of thing going on right outside of Into Risk and offer some of that networking and connection opportunity for those that are within the independent adjusting industry? To kind of just get a peek and a glimpse into what it is that we are. I mean, that totally revamps what Into Risk becomes, because we could get a lot of people to want to market to that particular group as well. Those are dollars flowing in whenever you talk about trade shows, especially. And it gives people that taste of things that says, oh yeah, maybe I do want to light a fire underneath myself right now to be a part of this, because I'm connecting to all of these types of people who have vast knowledge in the industry and can help me to set myself apart just like they have.
That's solid gold right there, because I think with us opening the program, talking about like what does it look like with everyone kind of like coming back to whatever, you know, again, I'll use the buzz phrase. I think it's been played out to death, but you know, whatever the quote unquote new normal looks like, right? I mean, quite frankly, like I try not to get political, but like every day is a new normal. All right. So like, you know, when you wake up tomorrow, not everything's the same. Just entropy in general, for me to nerd out from a science standpoint, says that tomorrow is not going to be the same as today. But so anyway, you know, whatever the world looks like in, you know, this new hybrid world, like virtual, in person, tons of companies have reevaluated travel expenses, and they've reevaluated the expenses of people going to conventions and trade shows and things like that. It would make more sense for someone to get the sales pitch that you're going to get more bang for your buck, right? Exactly. So if we had into risk or even in the future, the leadership summit. Wow, I'm having a senior moment now. The new name for the leadership summit is.
I thought it was still Leadership Summit, so I'm still operating in the old world.
No, it's a. Oh wow.
Scale. Something
Scale.
scale.
Yes. Scale. Yes.
Scale. Yeah.
So Scale can take part in conjunction with 1, 2, 3 other trade shows, and whether they be in series or whether they be done in parallel, I think that would be a much more compelling argument for everyone involved.
Agreed.
To be able to say, look, I pay for one plane ticket, I pay for one hotel stay, and I get to, tick 3 off as opposed to having to go to 3 separate ones. I think that would be huge value, not to mention the fact that you're talking about, cross-pollination or what would Austin Powers call it? Cross-mogenation going on between the different events, So just remember, people, you heard it here first. Like,
That's
I think
right.
this
That's
is
right.
a $1 million idea. So, all right. Well, I mean, what does it look like going forward? I mean, these conversations have happened kind of like at the IG level. Is it now it's in the leadership council's court in order to kind of take the ball and run with it?
Yeah, so each of us, obviously we always play our part to kind of talk it up, but I think now is with some of the changes with the executive, was it Valerie, what was she before she left, but with some of the changes like that happening, and from Tom to Sharon and different things going on at the president level, so it's now the conversations have started, which means we're further along than we were, right? Just having the conversations and getting people out there. I mean, just here in this little bit of time, we've actually come up with quite a bit of great material. And now it's kind of, I get to take this back, you get to take it back, you get to take it back to your individual groups and say, hey, how could we tap into this? Society, have you considered something about X, Y, or Z? And then we just be the squeaky wheel until we continue to get more traction. I think we have to I know it's outdated, but the whole grassroots effort, that's where we are, right? We're in the grassroots of starting this effort right here.
Yeah.
Wheels turning again here, Joann. Okay, you guys have me in major creative ideation mode tonight because I'm thinking interest group roadshow for independent adjusters.
Yeah.
To explain to you, here's what this is.
Yes.
We could definitely think about that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what's dangerous when Heather and I get together because our list grows longer and longer.
Yeah.
So that's a reminder to everyone who is currently in the society who is watching or will watch this. Definitely keep an eye out. Be on Interact because all these events, specifically the road shows, get publicized on Interact. Make sure to check into the website and check your email when this stuff comes out because all of these things key you into these initiatives. And there are stakeholders that aren't just, the IAs that we're talking about that could benefit from this. So if you are someone who heads up, say, a claims division at a carrier, okay, take note. This is something that could really positively impact your operational performance. And if you have a vested interest in it being successful, you might as well get involved with it because, what's the old saying? If people knew how sausage was made, they wouldn't eat any. Well, if you want good sausage, you might as well get involved in the process, right?
Yeah,
that's the way it goes. So definitely keep up to speed with these events and the announcements when they come out and just get involved. Keep your ear open to what's going on and ask how you can help out or even maybe kind of spearhead this if there's some opportunity there for that. So
let's say that again, Matt. Get involved, people.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. There's no excuse now, man. I mean, before it was oh, well, we got to see how things are going to pan out and stuff like that. No, there's no more seeing how things pan out. It's time to start building again. So no, I think this is awesome. I think it is it definitely sounds like, again, someone coming from an ignorant standpoint, it definitely sounds like a untapped, pool of opportunity there to get some really good professionals into the society and into the organization. So, I don't know. We got time left. What else do you want to talk about? I mean, like, we got all kinds of good stuff going on here. Right. We could talk about the soccer championship. I don't know if anyone's Italian, but I was in an Italian restaurant while Italy was winning, and it was nuts. We couldn't even talk. It was just people were yelling and screaming. Yeah, a full Wembley was. I think for me, in terms of, there are certain kind of vignettes or images that have been symbolic of things moving in a new direction. Seeing Wembley, of all places, in England, where they had a second round of lockdown and everything like that, seeing Wembley full for that match and just the insanity that was ensuing was like, all right, like, this is like a moment, like, I didn't have a dog in the fight, like, I'm not English, I'm not really Italian, but at the same time, like, I was able to appreciate kind of like that scenery.
Yeah.
So have you guys had any of those moments over the last couple of weeks?
Well, Joann, I know, has. So you could tell everybody about your little NASCAR trip.
That was fantastic. That was awesome. And, so many people there. And it really was nice to kind of see. So my son is 14. He's 5'11" and 14. So I was, we got him up there and I'm like, are they going to let him go? Cause he's not able to, he wasn't driving. He was a ride along. And of course they were fine with it. The guy on the bench trying to get him in, he's like, you know how it is when you roll up to a chick? And he's like, no, I don't.
No.
I have no clue.
It was just so awesome to see people out and about. I mean, we were on the ride along part where they were driving and riding, and they had other races going on. This was at the NASCAR track in Dallas, and just people out and about. We went to Brews and Burgers and Brews, which is Gene Simmons' restaurant. Did you know Gene Simmons of Kiss? He has a restaurant. And so we looked it up and we went, and it was fan-freaking-tastic. And it was just amazing that all these people, the restaurant was packed full. There was no like extra tables anywhere. And the noise was so loud, I could not hear myself, and I loved it. I did not at all.
Yeah.
It's like, this is so great. Bring me another mimosa.
Oh, wow. No, when you talk about people getting back together again, obviously, I'm definitely looking forward to into Risk, because it is going to be rocking. I think it's going to be fantastic to just have that group of people that you haven't seen in a really long time in person back together again in the happiest place on earth. So,
Matt, are you going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, the one thing is, I think, have you guys both gotten your rooms at Coronado?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't gotten a room at Coronado because I am waiting to see whether or not my wife and kids and the dogs are coming with me. And so I might like wagon train it down, in which case, like, you guys talking about it, I'm just like, I'm continually checking Airbnb for, rates and rooms and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think I'm definitely going to be there by hook or by crook, but I might be, shacking up with someone, who knows, but but yeah.
Matt needs a rollaway somewhere.
Yeah. I have a sofa for you.
Yeah. Look, there might be someone in the lobby. It's like, hey, the homeless guy over there is wearing a suit.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's like, that event, again, it's one of those things where, like, we definitely have to do a better job of peeling back the veil.
Yeah.
And showing people what it's about and everything like that. And yes, Mike, I bring the dogs with me. There's like, one's a pocket dog. It's my eldest daughter's, and he comes everywhere. And then the other dog doesn't travel well, of all things, but she also doesn't stay at home well if we're not there. So it's always a consideration. But we definitely have to pull back the veil and pierce the veil and show people what it's like, because it is not like what people would expect. They think a insurance conference to be stuffy and like, what was the movie? Was it Grand Rapids? Was the movie?
Grand
Was
Rapids.
That it? They think of this kind of like cliche experience, and it's not that. I mean, it is friends coming together to like learn, have a good time, brainstorm, and there's some amazing things that come out of it. Relationships, new business ideas. I mean, and again, that cross-pollination between all of the different, industry roles that are represented there is a thing of beauty, because sometimes when I come at things from a broker's perspective, someone like, Joann or Heather is like, you're an idiot. Like, why would you do it that way? Like, you should do it this way. Or, if I'm trying to get, an entree to a carrier, who better to talk to than people that are working with or for carriers? I mean, it just makes more sense that way, But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. Wait, what do you? Are you a big Disney person, Joann?
It just kind of depends. I am kind of super stoked about the new Star Wars at the Hollywood Studios, because that's new, and I hear that there's some Toy Story stuff with some Slinky Dog railroad thingy. I'm pretty excited about that, but otherwise, I do not like long lines. That's probably my, I don't like that. But otherwise, how can you just not enjoy Disney? I mean, come on.
One word, Joann. We got to get to Epcot, okay?
Yes.
Epcot.
Yes, I'm with you. And oh, by the way, Matt, thank you so much for your help on the StreamYard stuff. Matt, I called on him. I needed a resource to help me out with something work related, and he was right there to pick up the phone. So benefit again from being part of the society and networking with folks. So.
Oh yeah, and I had a lot of fun. That was like, I gotta be honest. If I wasn't a broker, I'd be like, man, I need to be a consultant and help firms do this stuff, But yeah, I'm pretty sure, I talked for like 20 minutes without taking a breath, and I don't know if like Joann was taking notes or what, but it was like I went from like 101 to like the graduate level class, like just in one fell swoop. So hopefully there was some value that's going to be brought out.
You should see my notes, absolutely. Yeah. And we were talking about the trade show thing, and immediately it came to the convention thing, and it's not stuffy. And I love The Office. And there's an episode where Michael and Dwight go to a meeting, and they go up, they just have the bar set up in their room, and it's the cool one, and they're dancing and nobody shows up. But I love that. And that's always how I feel about, people are going to show up, but that's how I feel. I think it's just that fun. So
yes. Yeah, most definitely. So, well, we're going on almost an hour here, so it was like time flew. I thought taking a couple weeks off, this was gonna feel like it was a lot longer, but it really wasn't. Any parting notes, comments, thoughts, brainstorms that we have on the way out here?
Number one, if you're within the society, watch this webcast. Okay. Yeah, you can watch the recording of it later if you weren't live with us tonight. Number two, if you're a carrier, watch this webcast, because we have great ideas as to how you can engage a whole new population of people. Number three, if you're with an independent adjusting firm, please watch this webcast, because we are going to help you to get better adjusters within your firm and help the industry overall. So, and secondly, and lastly, not secondly, fourth, because I can't count today. If you are a CPCU Society member, or if you're not a CPCU Society member, as we've said multiple times, get involved, whoever you are, because we need people who can help us to drive out things like what we talked about tonight and the ideas that we came up with tonight. It takes a village to do these types of things, and it can't all lie on the shoulders of 3 or 4 or 5 people most of the time. So get involved, be a part of it. You're missing out on opportunities if you don't.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I don't usually go back to the business, so I'm going to give you my parting words of do not drink spicy pickle monster.
We don't take paid promotions or anything like that. So
no.
That's why we don't.
In fact, I would tell you, if you need to like give your friends a dare or something, that's your beer. Like, there you go. So like, it might not be good for unwinding at the end of the day, but
No.
there is a purpose somewhere under the sun for spicy pickle monster.
You might see this come with us into Risk. We might have a dare contest there. So.
All right. Anyone who can get through the full can wins a prize, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see. With that, that is our episode for this evening. So, like usual, like, comment, subscribe, share, notification bell, share it, put it out there. We thank you for joining us, and we will be back. And you know what? We have a bunch of people lined up coming up here in the near future. Hold on, I got like all kinds of names. We got new designees coming up. We have some other folks from the society that are going to be talking about we got Abby Clow coming up. She published a book. I mean, holy crap, right? She put a book out. We got Brian Falchuk from Insurance Evolution and from the Do a Day podcast coming on next week. So that's going to be huge. Some really, really good guests, as usual, as exemplified by Joann. So we got some fun coming up here in the near future. So if you don't have notifications on YouTube, turn them on, all notifications, so that you get an idea of when we schedule the broadcast and we go live. So with that, thank you both, as usual. Have a good evening, and Heather and I will see everyone next Wednesday at 5:30 Eastern. Bye, all.
Thanks, guys.